So today I'm going to show you guys how to change the brake pads on your KBO bike. I definitely need to change my brakes. It's about time. So here I got a couple brake pads here, and I also have this wrench. I'll actually leave links to both of these down in the description down below. This is a 5mm Allen key, and this one's great because it's long enough to stick through the bike wheels, so you don't have to, like, stick your finger in there. You got a nice long, tool to work with here. You can go through the wheels. First off, to replace the brakes, you need to remove the brake. So it's pretty simple. You just remove this screw and this screw. And then now, after you remove both screws, it should be pretty easy to just remove this. And I'm taking a look at the brakes here. They're pretty worn out. So to remove the brakes, what you want to do is you want to bend this pin down, and you want to make it straight, and that way you want to pull this pin straight out. Now, one way you can easily bend this down if you don't have tools, because sometimes you may want to change your brakes if you are out riding the bike, because this is really small to keep in your backpack. So is the extra set of brakes. One thing you can do is you can take one of the brakes and remove it like so, and you can use one of the clips from the brakes. This is just a little hack I use. You can just use this to bend it down. So you can use it to straighten it out like that. Now I'm able to slide this out. And since this is pretty straight, I can actually reuse this again, and that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm definitely gonna reuse this because yeah, it's pretty cool. So to slide next to slide the brakes out, you just push after you remove the pin, and the brake should slip right out like so. If you have a hard time pulling the brake out, you may want to loosen this brake here, because over time, once the brakes start to fall down, you can turn this. And as you turn this, it pushes the brake pad in more, so you can tighten up the brakes. But when you're replacing the brakes, you actually want to pull this all the way out, so that way when you put the new brake pads in, it'll work. Some people actually do this before they remove the brake caliper, but since my brakes were so worn out, it wasn't really necessarily for me to remove it. We can take a look at the brakes here. These brakes are pretty filed down. So we'll just take one out here and we'll compare it with a fresh pad so you can see the difference. This is going to vary depending on how you ride and stuff like that. This one over here is a little bit rougher. But yeah, you can change out the brakes. It's pretty simple. You just take your new brake pads. You can reuse the old clip if it's the same brakes from the old brakes. If you're using the same exact brakes, or you can use the new clip. I'm just going to use the new clip just for the video. I just want to put them together like so. You attach this one on top, and that way it sort of clamps like that. It's not too close, right? So it clamps like that, and then after it clamps, you can go and you can open up your brake, and then you can sort of insert this into here like so, and then this way the brake will just slide in. You just line it up with the top. When you're doing this, it's actually pretty easy. You kind of can't see on camera because I'm not exactly moving it, but once you straighten these two up, it just pops in like so. Once you're able to straighten it up after you've moved it around, you want to insert the pin. Now, the brake is gonna sit like this on the rotor. So when you insert the pin, you want the pin to go this way. Now to get the pin in, you might want to move it around just a little bit, especially if you're recycling a pin. But once, oh, I just got a piece of hair. Once you get the pin to go all the way through, you can just grab one of the old brake pads, and then you can actually take this off. You can just grab one of the old brake pads and you can take this and bend it up like so. Just like I'm gonna do here. I'm actually gonna bend it up this way. This was the previous way it was bent. So just bend it like so. That way your brakes won't fall off. If you do not put this pin in and you just put the brakes back on, what will happen is you'll be able to ride for a little bit until these brake pads literally fall off. And then once that happens, you will quickly realize because you will not have brakes anymore. So now there's a nice little gap in between. I'm gonna adjust this after I put this back on because it's a little tricky when you just get it on here. Just sort of get it on like so, and once you get it on, you can sort of hand tie one of these to the front just to get it in place. And then the same way with the other one, just to get it in place so it's not moving around. You want to just sort of tighten them both down. Once you get them tightened both down, now you have to adjust the brake because the brake is probably pretty wide right now. So if you actually check the brakes up at the front, you'll notice that they are way too loose. A couple things you might want to do if you have extended this out, you want to put it back in. And then it's going to make it even looser, but it won't really matter. We're going to tighten it up down at the bottom. So to tighten it from the other side, this is why it really helps to have a long wrench. You just go in and you just turn in. And once you, now like I said, it helps to have a long Allen key so you can stick it through the wheel and make it very easy. And then you want to come up here and, test the tension. And you just keep tightening until you can get enough tension to where the brake's actually working. And then you also want to make sure you get an angle from the back side because you want to see how close the brake pad's moving in. And I can see, maybe you guys can't see because I'm filming this with a GoPro, but there's a little bit more space before the pad hits the rotor, so I can keep turning this a little bit more. You can do things like lift up the wheel and spin it, see if it's too tight. That looks pretty good. And then we come back up here and we test the brakes again, and yeah, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. Maybe I can tighten it just a little bit, but I also don't want the rotor to rub on the disc brake too much. And then when you're out riding your bike over time, you can just continue to tighten this and it'll continue to fall down the brake pad and you'll have brakes. And there's also the option of doing this whole option, which is not exactly my favorite. But there is this option, you know, when your brakes get really low, you can extend this out and it'll definitely tighten it up. It works like magic, but I don't like to do it all the time. Awesome. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. If you guys have any questions or comments or want to see more bike reviews or more, you know, tutorials like that, definitely put it in the comments below. I will be uploading all bike content to this channel, and you know, I'll definitely upload a little bit to the other channel. But thanks a lot for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and peace out, yo.